The slave market was loud. Voices shouted prices. Aliens in cages cried or stayed silent. The sun above was harsh. Heat bounced off the metal ground. Buyers moved from one cage to another, pointing, laughing, buying. One by one, the cages emptied. Soon, the last cage stood alone. Inside it sat a thin, bruised girl. Her skin was a soft gray blue. Her eyes, too big for her small face, were half closed. She didn't move. She didn't speak. Chains were tight on her arms and legs. Her clothes were torn, barely cloth anymore. "No one wants that one," a seller said. "Too small, maybe broken." A group of rich buyers walked past her without a glance. Another said, "She's useless. Not even worth cleaning ships." The market bell rang. All slaves were sold, except her. She stayed still, head down, like she didn't care. Then, heavy, Boots stopped in front of her cage. A human stood there. He wore plain brown clothes. His face was rough but calm. His eyes were tired but kind. The seller laughed. "You don't want that one, human. She's worthless. Can't work. Might be sick." The human didn't say anything. He looked at the girl. She didn't look back. He knelt down. "What's your name?" She blinked slowly. "No. Name," she whispered. He stood and looked at the seller. "How much?" The seller laughed again. "For her? Just take her. No refunds when she dies." The human nodded. He opened the cage himself. Gently he lifted the girl in his arms. She didn't fight. She just shivered. Crowds watched in silence. No one understood. Why would a human buy someone no one else wanted? The human walked through the dry streets with her in his arms. Her breathing was slow, weak. She smelled like dirt and blood. Still, he held her close. He reached a small transport ship parked at the edge of the market. Inside it was quiet and cool. He laid her on a soft seat and got a med kit. He cleaned the cuts on her face. She flinched once, then whispered, "Why?" He looked at her. "Because you're not nothing." Tears rolled from her eyes. She turned away. She woke up hours later. She was wrapped in a warm blanket. Water sat beside her. So did a small bowl of soup. She drank slowly, her hands shaking. The human came in. "Feeling better?" She nodded but didn't speak. He sat nearby. "I'm Darren. I fly cargo between colonies. You're safe here." She looked at him, confused. "Safe?" "Yes." "No pain?" "No pain," he promised. That night, she had dreams, flashes, flames, screams, a building falling, her people running, someone pushing her into a ship, chains, then darkness. She woke up crying. Darren sat nearby, watching silently. She gasped. "Why, me," he said softly. "You were the only one left," she asked again. "Why not walk away?" Darren looked at her long and quiet. "Because someone should care, even for the last one." She stared at him. No one had ever said words like that. Not to her. Days passed. She could stand now. She walked slowly, leaning on the walls. She tried to help, but her hands were weak. Still, Darren didn't yell. He didn't push. He only said, "One step at a time." She watched him repair wires and check fuel cells. He gave her real food, real rest. And once he smiled. She didn't know what to do with that smile, but something warm stirred inside her chest. One morning he brought her a small package. Inside was a simple dress. Clean. New. She held it with shaking hands. "For me?" He nodded. "You deserve something that's yours." Her eyes filled with tears. She turned away to hide them. Later that night, sitting under stars, she spoke. "My people were not slaves. We had cities, gardens, music." Darren listened. "They came in ships, took us, burned everything. I was just a child." She hugged her knees. They called me worthless every day. I started to believe them, Darren said. They were wrong. She looked at him. You survived. That doesn't make you worthless, he said. It makes you strong. For the first time, she believed it might be true. But far away, deep in the shadows of another ship, a voice spoke. She's alive? Another replied, yes. A human took her. Find them. The ship flew quietly through black space. Stars blinked outside the window. Inside, she sat on a soft seat wrapped in a gray blanket, staring at her reflection in the glass. Her face looked better now. The bruises were fading, but her eyes still looked lost. She whispered to the glass, "Why?"
Did he save me?
Behind her, the human, Darren, was fixing something under the control panel. His hands worked fast, but his ears were listening. "I heard that," he said gently. She turned slowly. "Why?" He stood up, wiping oil off his fingers. "Because you needed help." "No one helps slaves," she said. "I'm not no one," Darren said. That answer made her quiet. Later, she tried to walk across the room. Her legs were stronger now, but still weak. She stumbled and almost fell. Darren caught her. She pushed his hand away. "I don't need help." "You're allowed to need help," he said calmly. She hated how soft his voice was. It didn't match the world she knew. The world was loud, cruel, sharp, but he was quiet, warm, steady. She didn't know what to do with that. She sat at the ship's small table, eating something soft and warm. Darren sat across from her, checking maps. He glanced at her plate. "Eat slow. Your stomach's still healing." She blinked. "Why do you care so much?" He looked up. "What's your name?" She didn't answer. "I can't keep calling you hey you," he joked lightly. Still, she said nothing. Then she whispered, "They called me 47. "That's not a name," she shrugged. "It's all I had." Darren was silent. Then he smiled. "Can I give you one?" She looked up, surprised. "I like the name Kira." She repeated it softly like a secret. Kira. That night she had another dream, a city under moonlight, her mother holding her hand, a song in the wind, then fire, screams, chains, and a loud voice. "Sell her. No one will remember." She woke up sweating. Kira sat in the dark, hugging her knees. Darren walked in with a cup of water. "Bad dream?" She nodded. He handed her the cup. "It's okay. They're just memories, not your fault." She drank quietly. "Why are you so kind to me?" she asked. He leaned against the wall. "You want the truth?" She nodded. He said, "Because once, someone helped me too." The next morning, they landed on a small outpost planet. Darren needed fuel. Kira stayed on the ship, watching from the window. Aliens passed by outside. Some had weapons. Some looked dangerous. One stopped and stared at the ship. His eyes were yellow. His skin had scales. Kira froze. She had seen him before, in the slave market. No, before that, he was one of the men who took her people. Her hands started shaking. She stepped back from the window, breathing fast. He couldn't see her. He couldn't. Darren returned with supplies and found her sitting on the floor, her arms around her knees. "What happened?" She looked up, eyes wide. One of them was out there. He saw the ship. Darren's face changed. "What did he look like?" She described him. Darren nodded slowly. "That's trouble." He helped her up. "We'll take off. Don't worry." "But they'll follow," she whispered. "They always do." "Let them try," Darren said. They took off again, flying into the dark sky. Kira sat in the co-pilot seat this time. She asked, "If they catch us, we fight. You'll fight for me?" Darren looked at her. "I already am," She turned away so he wouldn't see her eyes fill with tears. Later, she found a small old book in his ship. The pages were faded. "What is this?" she asked. "Stories," he said. "From Earth." "Stories?" "Yeah, about heroes, people who did the right thing even when it was hard." She flipped through pages. "Were you a hero once?" Darren shook his head. "I just try not to be a coward." Kira looked at the book again. Maybe. She could be someone in a story too. Maybe. She could be more than just a number, but far away, the yellow-eyed alien spoke into a radio. "She's alive," he hissed. "The human took her." A deep voice replied, "Bring her back, or destroy them both." The stars looked peaceful outside. The ship, but inside, Kira's heart was racing. She had seen that face, the yellow eyes. The scar on the cheek, the same alien who led the raid on her people, the one who gave the order to burn her home. Now he had seen the ship. Now he knew she was alive. She sat alone in her small bunk, holding the blanket tightly. Her hands trembled. Her chest hurt. Her memories were breaking through again, louder and clearer than ever. Darren entered quietly. "You haven't eaten." "I'm not hungry." He sat down across from her. "He recognized you, didn't he?" She nodded slowly. "He's one of them. One of the hunters." Darren's jaw clenched. "Then we move again. We don't wait for trouble." Kira looked up at him. "You don't have to do this." "Yes, I do." Later that night, she found a mirror in the ship's storage room. For the first time, she really looked at her reflection. Her gray-blue skin was marked with thin scars. Her eyes, once always down, now stared back. She traced one scar on her neck. A brand, burned into her by the slavers. Her breath caught. The shape of the mark. It wasn't random. It was a symbol. A circle, with 2 lines through it. Suddenly, memories flashed again. She was hiding in a vent, watching. Someone screaming. A glowing disc handed to a soldier. "Hide this," the voice had said. She saw it. That girl saw it. That girl was her. She ran to the front of the ship where Darren was checking fuel readings. "I remember something," she said. "I wasn't just a slave. I was a witness." He turned to face her. "I saw something I wasn't supposed to, something they were trying to hide. I don't know what, but they branded me to keep track of me. And then they sold me." Darren frowned. "Sold you? So no one would believe you?" She nodded. "They called me broken, worthless. But they made me that way. They wanted me forgotten." He looked at her for a long moment. "But now you remember. And they're scared," Kira whispered. "They want me dead." Outside in deep space, a small hunter ship followed them quietly. It had no lights. It moved like a shadow. Inside the hunter ship, the yellow-eyed alien sharpened a knife. "Alive after all this time," he said to himself. "No more mistakes." A voice crackled over the radio. "Orders? Don't kill the human yet," he growled. "He may know something now." Back in Darren's ship, Kira stood at the window. "I don't want to run anymore," she said. Darren looked up. "We don't have to. But they'll come. Then let them. You're not alone anymore." She turned to him. "You still don't know who I am." "I know enough." She hesitated. "They killed my entire village, burned it to silence a secret. If I'm right, I saw something that could destroy powerful people." "That makes you dangerous to them," Darren said. She took a deep breath. "And you too." He smiled a little. "Good. I was getting bored." Suddenly, alarms beeped. "Unmarked ship, tailing us," Darren said, scanning the radar. Kira's blood went cold. "They're here." He switched controls fast. "Hold tight." The engines roared. The ship turned. Sharply. Stars blurred in the window. The enemy ship followed. Fast. Silent. They're not broadcasting any ID, Darren said. Only hunters fly like that. What do? He handed her a small device. We send a signal, a burst, encrypted, to someone I trust. She held it tightly. What if they catch us before help comes? Then we fight. Together. The hunter ship fired. Darren's ship shook. Sparks flew. Kira fell but caught herself. Darren hit buttons fast. Shields holding barely. Another blast. Life support hit. Smoke started to fill the back room. We have to land, Kira said. Darren nodded. There's a mining moon nearby. We'll try for that. He turned the ship toward the dark moon. It was rocky, cold, abandoned. The hunter ship followed, still firing. Kira's heart pounded. But she wasn't shaking anymore. She wasn't just scared. She was angry. They landed hard. The ship slid on ice and stopped near an old mining station. Darren grabbed a pack and a weapon. Ready? Kira nodded. Let them come. Far above, the hunter ship circled like a bird over prey. They've landed, the alien said. End it. Now. The wind on the mining moon howled like a ghost. Dust blew across the rocks. The old station stood broken, half buried in snow and silence. Metal doors creaked in the cold. Inside, Darren and Kira crouched behind old machinery. Their breath fogged in the freezing air. Kira's arms were wrapped in a coat far too big for her. She held Darren's emergency pack close. He held his old plasma pistol, checking the power levels. They'll be here soon, he said quietly. Kira nodded. I'm not afraid. He looked at her. You're shaking. I'm cold, she said. Then she added, not scared. He smiled a little. Good, because I need you brave. The hunter ship landed hard nearby. Snow blew up in a cloud. Out came 3 tall aliens, armor black and eyes glowing yellow. The leader touched his earpiece. Signal confirms. She's inside. Another asked. The human? Kill him if needed. But the girl comes back. Dead. Or alive. Inside, Kira looked at her hand. She still held the small signal beacon Darren gave her. It worked? She asked. Darren nodded. Help is coming, but maybe not fast enough. He pulled a thin chain from his pocket. On it hung a tiny metal charm, round, old, simple. This belonged to my sister, he said. She was brave like you. He put it around her neck. Kira touched the charm gently. Why are you so kind to me? He looked into her eyes. Because you deserve to be treated like someone, not something. Kira's throat tightened. No one had ever said that to her. Not even once. Then he said something that made her freeze. You are Kira. She blinked. What? That's your name. I gave it to you because you deserve one. Her eyes filled with tears. She opened her mouth, but no sound came. She turned her face away to hide the tears. Then, footsteps. Close. Darren stood up. Stay hidden. No. He looked down at her. She stood too. I'm not hiding anymore. Darren handed her a second blaster. Smaller, older. But it worked. She took it with both hands, heart racing. The doors of the station slammed open. The yellow-eyed hunter stepped in. His voice echoed. Return the girl, or die with her. Kira stepped forward before Darren could speak. I remember you, she said, her voice steady. You destroyed my village. You burned my people alive. The hunter growled. You were a mistake. No, she said. You're afraid of what I know. He raised his gun. Kira didn't flinch. Darren fired first. The blast hit the hunter in the shoulder. He roared in pain and fell back. The 2 others rushed in. Darren ducked, rolled, and shot again. Kira dropped to her knees and fired from cover. She hit one in the leg. Sparks flew. Walls shook. The hunter screamed. Take her alive! Kira shouted. I'd rather die free than live in chains. She fired again, this time hitting the power pack on one enemy's chest. It exploded in sparks. The alien collapsed. The other ran forward, but Darren tackled him to the ground. It was over in minutes. Breathing hard, Darren and Kira stood among the bodies. Smoke rose from the floor. Outside, lights appeared in the sky. Kira pointed. "What is that?" Darren looked up. "That's help." A small Earth Alliance ship landed nearby. From it came a tall human in a long coat. "Darren, you alive?" "Barely," Darren called back. The man walked up, then paused, staring at Kira. "She's the girl?" Kira looked down, afraid. Darren stepped beside her. "She's not just a girl, she's Kira." The man nodded slowly. "Understood." Inside the new ship, warm and clean, Kira sat by a window. A medic wrapped her arm where she had been scratched. Darren came over and sat beside her. "You did good," he said. "I was scared. You still fought. That's what matters." She looked at him. "I've never had a name before." He smiled. "Now you do." She whispered it to herself. Kira. But far away, on a dark planet, a higher voice whispered into a communicator. "She survived again?" A shadowy figure replied, "Yes. She's becoming a symbol. Then we'll destroy the symbol, before the galaxy starts listening." The stars passed slowly beyond the windows of the Alliance ship. Kira sat in silence, watching them move. She wore clean clothes now, gray uniform pants and a soft blue top. Her cuts were bandaged, her skin was healing. But inside, her thoughts were loud and full of shadows. She had a name now. She had survived the hunters. But something inside whispered, "This isn't over." Captain Aaron, the tall human officer who had rescued them, stood in the command room, reading a glowing report. He frowned. "This girl, she's not just a survivor, she's a witness." Darren nodded. "She saw something important." Aaron looked at him. "Then they won't stop coming. The people who sent the hunters won't stop until she's silent." A quiet room, Kira was handed a small tablet. "These are public files," Aaron explained. "You can see which groups were at your planet. Maybe you'll remember something." Kira scrolled slowly. Images of symbols, logos, flags. Then she froze. The circle with 2 lines. She touched it. Her breath caught. This was on their uniforms. Aaron stepped closer. His face grew hard. "That's a private army. Off books. Funded by a council official." "Council?" she asked. "Yes. The people who make the laws, who hide their crimes behind them." Kira's hands trembled. "So they know I'm alive?" Aaron nodded. "And if they know, they'll come. With more than hunters." Later, in the ship's mess hall, Kira sat across from Darren. Her soup had gone cold. "I'm not safe," she whispered. "No," he said honestly, "but you're not alone." She looked at him. "They'll kill anyone who helps me." Darren smiled slightly. "That includes me. I don't want you to die for me." "I don't plan to," he said. "But if I do, at least I'll die. For something real." She stared at him. "No one has ever said that to me." The ship docked at a neutral spaceport. Hundreds of beings walked under bright lights. It was loud and full of movement. Kira walked beside Darren and Captain Aaron, trying to stay small. Suddenly, gunfire, panic, people screamed. Laser blasts flashed. Aaron pulled his weapon. "Cover her!" Darren grabbed Kira and pulled her behind a vendor's booth. He peeked out. 3 attackers, all in black armor. One wore the same symbol, the circle with 2 lines. "They found us," Kira said, heart racing. "You okay?" Darren asked. She nodded. "Good," he said, handing her a weapon. "Then help me fight." Kira had never fired in a crowded place before. She focused, breathed, aimed. Her blast hit one attacker in the leg. He screamed and fell. Aaron hit the second with a shot to the shoulder. The third threw a small device. A bomb. Darren saw it. He pushed Kira down and covered her with his body. Boom! The blast rocked the market. Lights shattered. Smoke filled the air, but they were alive. When the dust cleared, the attackers were gone. But one had dropped a data chip. Aaron picked it up, plugged it into his scanner. He stared at the screen. Then he turned to Darren and Kira. "They don't just want her dead," he said. "They've marked her." Back on the ship, Aaron showed them the message inside the chip, a single line of text. "By order of Counselor Vaylor, the target known as Subject 47 is to be terminated without delay. Do not allow her to speak." Kira stepped back. "They gave me a number, even in their records." "You're more than that now," Darren said. She looked at him, eyes shining. "But what if I talk? What if I tell the truth?" "Then you'll make them afraid," Aaron said. "And maybe you'll start a fire they can't put out." That night, Kira couldn't sleep. She stood at the window, holding the small charm Darren had given her. "I don't want to be hunted forever," she whispered. Darren came beside her. "Then let's stop running," she looked at him. "We find out what they're hiding," he said, "and we tell the galaxy." Her eyes widened. "They'll come harder." "Let them," Darren said. "You've survived worse." She nodded slowly. No more hiding. No more silence. She was done being afraid. On the council homeworld in a dark office, Counselor Vaylor stared at a screen. "She's alive," his aide said. Vaylor narrowed his eyes. "Then it's time," he said coldly. "Bring out the enforcers." Darren stood at the edge of the station platform, staring at the star map glowing in the air before him. The lines and lights meant nothing to most people, but to him they marked danger, escape, and choices. Kira stood behind him, quiet. "They're closing in," she said softly. "Every system we jump to, they follow." "I know." She stepped closer. "You could walk away right now, no one would blame you." Darren didn't turn. "Is that what you want?" Kira hesitated. "No, but it would be safer for you." He finally turned around. His eyes met hers. "Listen carefully. I was a soldier once. I fought wars I didn't believe in. I followed orders I never questioned. I lost people I never should have left behind." Kira said nothing, just watched him. "But when I saw you, chained, forgotten, barely alive, I knew this time. The fight mattered." Later that night, Darren sat with Captain Aaron in the ship's strategy room. Aaron tapped the table. "You understand what happens if you stay with her, right? She's a target." "No," Aaron said. "She's the target. The council wants her erased. They've sent enforcers now, silent killers, trained, fast, no questions." "I've faced worse," Darren said. Aaron sighed. "You're not her father, Darren. You're not her protector." Darren leaned forward. "She's not just some mission. She's a person, and I made a choice. You're risking your life. Then it's a life worth risking." Meanwhile, Kira sat alone, holding the old charm he gave her. The metal was warm from her hand. She whispered, "Why do you fight for me, Darren?" Then a voice behind her answered, "Because you remind him of who he used to be." She turned sharply. An old woman stood there, human, wrinkled, wearing a healer's badge. "I knew Darren before the war," she said. "He lost a little sister, just like you, taken during a raid, never found." Kira looked down. "I think when he saw you," the old woman said, "he saw her, and maybe he saw hope." The next morning, the alarm sounded. "Incoming signal, council ship entering orbit," said Aaron. "Already?" Darren said, moving fast. "They found us," Kira said. "Again?" Aaron turned sharply. "They're not sending messages, not opening hails. This isn't a warning, it's a strike." The station lights flickered. Heavy thuds echoed above. A gunship had landed on the top deck. Darren grabbed a weapon. "Evac route?" Aaron shook his head. "They've blocked it, fast, clean like they always do." Smoke filled the lower halls. Kira and Darren moved through metal corridors. Suddenly, boom! The wall exploded. An armored figure stepped through, tall, silent, covered in black steel. The Council's enforcer. Kira froze. Its voice crackled, robotic and cold. Target identified. Eliminate witness. The enforcer raised its gun. Darren shoved Kira behind cover. He fired. The enforcer didn't even flinch. It moved forward, fast. Darren gritted his teeth. "Run!" Kira shouted. "No, I'm not leaving you!" The enforcer raised its arm again. Boom! Sudden explosion behind it knocked it down. Captain Aaron stood there holding a shoulder cannon. "Go, now!" They ran. Through maintenance shafts, across walkways, breathing hard, choking on smoke. Kira's mind raced. They were still chasing her, still trying to silence her. But this time, something inside her was different. She wasn't a victim anymore. She was dangerous. To them. She was the truth they feared. At the ship's dock, Darren and Kira reached their small cargo ship. Darren stopped before boarding. Kira turned. "What's wrong?" He stared at the stars. "I can still run," he said. "I can fly to some quiet moon, change my name, live alone." Kira's voice was soft. "Do you want to?" He looked at her, at the girl who had been broken, but never gave up, at the girl who learned to stand, to speak, to fight. "No," he said. "I want to finish what we started." They entered the ship. Engines roared to life. As they rose from the platform, another council ship entered the atmosphere. "This is Darren Kai," he said over the comm. "I have the girl. Her name is Kira. She's not just a survivor, she's proof. I'm sending her voice across the stars. Let the people hear what the council tried to erase." On dozens of planets, screens flickered, voices rose, and in the dark, powerful places of the galaxy, the wrong people began to panic. The message spread like fire. Across mining colonies, trade stations, distant moons, screens lit up with the face of a gray-blue alien girl. Her voice was soft but clear, honest, real. "My name is Kira. They called me worthless. They chained me, sold me, hunted me. But I remember what they did. I saw who gave the order." She held up the branded scar on her neck. "This mark isn't a number. It's a secret, a crime they tried to bury." The galaxy reacted. Some changed the channel. Some turned up the volume. But others, many others, believed, because they had scars too, and they had been silent too long. On a council world, Vaylor slammed his fist into the table. "Cut the signal," an aide stammered. "It's already mirrored across thousands of networks. We can't stop it now." Vaylor's face twisted. "Then we end this another way." Back on Darren's ship, the cockpit was silent. The message had been sent. Now, they waited. Kira stared out the window. "Do you think it mattered?" Darren didn't answer right away. Then he said, "Yes. Even if just one child sees it and knows they matter, that's enough." Kira looked at him. "I'm not afraid anymore." He nodded. "I know, but I'm tired of running. Then maybe it's time we make them run." Suddenly, sensors beeped. A large council warship entered orbit. Darren's eyes narrowed. "They're here." No warnings. No words. "They came to erase us," Kira whispered. "But this time," Darren said, "we fight our way." Kira stood beside him. "I'm ready." He handed her a comm device. "This sends one last message. To everyone who answered the first one. We're not asking for rescue now. What are we asking for?" "Witnesses," he said. "Let them see what monsters look like when they try to silence the truth." The warship hailed them. A cold voice spoke. "This is your last chance. Surrender the girl." Kira stepped forward. "No," she said, voice strong. "You had your chance when I was a child. When you burned my home. You failed then. You'll fail now." She cut the signal herself. Darren looked at her with quiet pride. The council ship fired. Explosions rocked Darren's vessel, but it didn't. A fleet of smaller ships suddenly dropped out of hyperspace. Cargo haulers, free trader crafts, even old mining rigs. One voice echoed across the stars. "Leave the girl, or face us all." Kira gasped. "They came," Darren grinned. You gave them a reason. The warship hesitated. Then it turned away. The council had power, but the people had something stronger now. Truth. Hours later, on a neutral broadcast station, Kira gave her final message. She stood tall. Her voice no longer trembled. My name is Kira. I was once a number, once a slave, once forgotten, but I was never worthless. Someone believed in me when no one else did, a human. And now, I believe in myself. The galaxy listened, and the girl who had once been left behind was now leading something new. In the quiet of the ship, Kira sat beside Darren. She held the old charm he gave her still around her neck. Thank you, she whispered. He smiled. You don't need me anymore, you know. She smiled back. Maybe not. But I want you around anyway. Far away, in another corner of space, a child with shackles watched her face on a screen and whispered, My name is Kira too.